Okay, so the next video is about how to measure angles on a Chromebook using a digital protractor. Now, I wasn't sure how many of you just have a protractor lying around your house, so I decided that I would just show you the digital version instead. So the best one I've found is called the AB ruler for Chrome, and it's just an extension for Chrome, Google Chrome. So if you download it, then you will be able to hopefully measure some angles with it. So once you've downloaded it, you're going to see this triangle right here. Okay, and what I want you to do is I want you to click on it. Okay, maybe click on it. I don't know. Okay, this is unfortunate. So we're gonna go to another page here. Okay, so I'm just gonna show you what it looks like. You can have a protractor pop up whenever you want. So as soon as you click on that, and download it, you're going to see this little thing in the corner. I hope you can all see it. You've got that triangle there. It's a square with a triangle, kind of a lighter triangle on one end, and then a darker triangle on another. So you're just going to click on that. That's what you're going to do. And you're going to see right here, this is the protractor. This is a grid. And to be honest, I'm not even sure what this is. So all you do is you click on the first one, click on the protractor, and this is what pops up. Pretty cool, hey? So we're gonna measure some angles here shortly, but I just wanted to show you how to use this thing first, okay? So I don't know what this blue dot here does. So what I want you to do is just ignore it, and I want you to ignore the numbers that are right here anyway, because I'm going to show you how to measure it just by measuring an angle just by looking at the protractor, okay? So what I've been doing is I'm just taking the blue dot and I'm putting it down to 0. That's what I'm doing. Or you can just ignore it and ignore the numbers because that seems to be easier. So now, how to make, different angles come in different, they look different. So I'll show you how to move this around, and I'm going to show you how to make it smaller or bigger. So if you can't, so in order to make it bigger, then you're going to be able to see the numbers better. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't affect the angle, how big the protractor is, okay? So like the protractor could be this small, and the angle would be the same as if it was this big, okay? Now what I've done is I've accidentally tilted this, which kind of sucks, but that's how you tilt the protractor, is you just drag it, literally. You just grab on one of these corners and you drag it, okay? And that's how you're gonna tilt it. And then to move the protractor, you click the middle button, the middle red button, and look, you can move it around. See, and this is what I don't understand, this blue dot here. And to be honest, if you could get rid of it, if I knew how to get rid of it, I would. So that's why I'm just saying ignore the blue line and ignore those numbers there. Okay, so just to recap, these dots on either side of the protractor, turn the protractor around. Okay, if you wanted to just open a Google Doc and put it in there and fiddle around with it, like I did, you're more than welcome to. And to be honest, I would probably recommend it. And the middle dot, the middle red dot, moves the protractor up and down. Okay, so let's get started. We're going to practice measuring angles. So now that we've talked about an acute, an obtuse, a right, and a straight angle, we are going to, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to compare. So this here, notice those arrows that I was telling you about. Okay, so that means that this line goes all the way on forever, and this line goes all the way along forever. And this is how, and I'm going to show you how to use the protractor with those arrows here shortly. So they're asking you whether the angle is greater than, equal to, or less than a right angle. Now remember, a right angle looks like an L. So we can just see by looking at this that this is smaller, right, than an L. So that means it is less than a right angle. So if it's less than a right angle, it would be an acute angle. So I'm going to go over to my little answer key and I'm going to write acute angle. Okay. And now we're going to learn how to measure. So again, it's kind of hard to see, but you see that little square in the corner there with the light square on one, or the light triangle on one side and the colored in triangle on the other side. I click on it and there I have my protractor and I pull it out. So we're going to ignore this again, but my goal here, so remember I need to move the protractor around. So if you can see, there is where the red center dot is, it needs to connect to the vertex. So the center dot needs to connect to the vertex. And we're going to ignore these numbers. And this line here, the bottom arm, is going to tell you whether we use the bottom numbers or whether we use the top numbers. So this arrow is pointing this way, and therefore that tells us that we need to use the bottom numbers. Okay, so we've got, and what all you need to do is follow the arrow up. And you can see that it looks to me, if I can make this smaller. Let's try and make it smaller. I'm gonna make sure that line lines up. Okay. So if you look here, so this arm started off here, and that would be a degree of 0, right? There would be no measurement of degree, but it's moved now. You can tell because of that little line there. You can tell that it's moved all the way up and it stopped at pretty close to 60. If I was to be exact, I would say about 61. So then I'm going to go into here and I'm going to type in my answer, 61. And actually, if you want to know, we're 61 degrees. That's what we're measuring angles in, is degrees. So you go to Insert, Special Characters, and you type in to the search degree. And if you see here, that little dot there with a hole in the middle, that's a degree sign. So now I've answered the first question. Let's move on to the second one. Okay, so the red dot the middle red dot has to line up with the vertex. Again, my arrows are moving this way. Okay, so I'm going to take the little red dot and I'm going to move my protractor to that vertex. And I'm going to just take this blue dot around with me because it's annoying and I just don't want to see it anymore. Okay, so now what I have to do is, and this is kind of the confusing part, and I wish I was there to explain this to you, but right now you can't measure the angle because the angle, which is this line right here, is not in the protractor measurement part. So what I have to do is I have to take this corner and I'm going to move it down to touch the bottom arm. Okay, so now you see that the angle is actually in the protractor. Now again, we're faced with the scenario of these arrows. And these arrows are again pointing this way, which means that I am going to start from the bottom numbers. So I'm going to go 10, 20, and it looks like it kind of stopped in and around. If I want to make the protractor bigger, I can, just to get a more accurate measurement. It looks like it kind of stopped at 23, right? So if I follow it up, it stops just past 20. Okay, so now, first of all, looking at this, I can tell that it is definitely smaller than 90 degrees, which would make it an acute angle, right? So I'm going to write that down. And then if I am measuring the angle, it looks to be about 22 or 23. So I'm going to write that down. I'm going to put 23. Okay, and now I need to look for that degree sign. So I'm going to go to special characters again, insert special characters. I'm going to type in degree. And I see that little circle with a hole in the middle. And I'm going to click on that and look, the degree sign pops up. Okay. We're going to do one more. All right. So again, we're going to do number 3. And the question asks you, is the angle greater than, equal to, or less than a right angle? So again, remember that the right angle looks like an L, right? And so if I pictured the L would be right about here. Now, this angle is totally different than the other two. To me, it looks like this angle is definitely bigger than an L, which would signal to me that this is an obtuse angle. So remember, obtuse, obese, bigger than. So it is bigger than a right angle. So first of all, I'm going to write that down. So it is an obtuse angle. Oops, that's the wrong button. Okay, so now I'm going to drag the middle red dot of my protractor to the vertex of this new angle that I am measuring. So here we go. It's pretty important that you get it pretty accurate. So again, this blue dot's annoying me, so I'm just going to get rid of it. Okay, so now you can see right here that these are not completely lined up, so I have to move the protractor so that they are lined up completely. Now, again, we are looking at the arrow. The arrow is pointing the same way that it has for the last 3, which means I am starting to measure from the bottom, right? Because this is 0, so it's showing me 0 with this, but it has moved all the way around to what looks like to be about 140, but I'm going to try and make it smaller so that I can see. Yep, it's about 140. You always, and notice I turned a little bit. So the protractor wasn't there. It wasn't on the right line. So I had to correct it and move it back. So it looks like to me it is pretty much on the 140 mark. So it started off, this arm started off here and it went all the way around, and you can tell it went all the way around to 140. So that is my answer, 140. And again, special characters, type degree, find the little dot with a hole in it. There you go. And you have your answer. So look at that, the obtuse angle, it's an obtuse angle, and we know that for sure because it is more than 90 degrees. This is an acute angle, and we know that for sure because it's smaller than 90 degrees. And this is an acute angle here, and we know that for sure because it is also smaller than 90 degrees. It's cute. This is a cute angle. Okay, I've hoped I helped some of you. I hope you understand this. Again, just to recap, the best one I found is an extension called AB Ruler for Chrome. I'll add that to the comments or to your assignment. And then put it on just an untitled Google Doc and play with it for a little bit. Ignore the blue dot there, okay, and ignore those numbers. The middle dot is how you move it around, and the two side dots are how you rotate it. Okay, all right, I hope this helps. If not, obviously, just send me a message on Hangouts. All right, we'll see you soon.